What's going on, guys? Welcome to the very first part of my action RPG tutorial series for Unreal Engine 5. In the first part, we are going to be making a brand new blank project, a character blueprint, and we're going to be setting up enhanced inputs for a basic first person movement setup. And I know this is way too basic, but trust me, we're going to be making it more advanced as we go. So before we start, I want to give you guys a quick recap of the introduction video in case you missed it. I'm going to be going over the basics of combat in the first 20 videos, and then we're going to be diving into more advanced RPG aspects and more intricate stuff. But for the first 20 videos, we're going to be going from like complete basics to a more advanced setup, and they are going to be mostly focused on combat and player actions and also enemies. So if that sounds interesting to you, please subscribe so that you don't miss any of the parts, and like the videos so that you tell me that this series is successful and I keep making more. And without further ado, let's get started.
First thing we want to do is open the Epic Games Launcher, which you've probably already installed. I suggest you install Epic Games Launcher and Unreal Engine before following this series, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to open the engine if you didn't have it installed, of course. So yeah, the version we're going to be using is Unreal Engine 5.4. If you are on a newer version, that will also work. Like if you're in the future, any version works. So things will be like slightly different in terms of like where they are. Probably not, but sometimes they change stuff in the user interface of Unreal. So if things are different, you just need to look for where it's located, because all of it is going to be there, of course. So we're going to open Unreal Engine 5.4 and we're going to create a brand new project. Okay guys, so Unreal Project browser is open and we have several choices that we can choose from. So this is recent projects. This is projects that already exist on the computer. You want to go to games. This is where you create a game project, and you want to choose the template that you want to start with. So you can either go with blank or third person. Now it does make a lot of sense to go with blank because it's the cleanest thing ever. So that's what we're going to do. And we are going to open another third person project as a reference on the side, and just use it as a reference in case we forget anything, because you know it's the basic setup. That's what we're going to do today. So it's going to be very simple. The project, we are going to be calling it RPG. Yeah, actually I'm going to call it Astrum RPG, and we're going to hit the create button. Oh, I forgot to tell you, like you can just choose starter content to be enabled, and that will just have some extra models and materials for you to play with, though it doesn't really matter that much. It's creating the project, and it should be very quick since there's no code or anything. So yeah, it's created. And one thing you might notice is that your project looks a little bit different than mine, and that is because I use it every day. So I have my own like viewport setup so that I could have like what I'm comfortable with. But to keep things simple for you guys, I'm going to go to Windows and I'm going to choose load layout, and we'll choose the default editor layout. So what this will do is it will just revert it back to the regular layout so that you guys can follow along with the tutorial series. And you know, the first thing I do when I go into the default layout is that I hit the content drawer and I hit dock in layout so that it just stays there and doesn't go away. So now that we have done that, we are ready to start coding our game. So in the content browser, this is where stuff is going to happen. This is where we're gonna create our files and stuff and our code. So we can just do a several folder setup. So the way I do it usually is like blueprints, meshes, materials, all of that stuff, each one in a separate folder. So right now we are going to be creating the blueprints folder, because if you hit play, like the project is really blank. That's what a blank project is. It's just a blank project where you can like fly around. There's no gameplay, there's no characters, there's nothing in there. So we are going to be hitting the right mouse button and we are going to be creating a brand new folder. We're going to call it blueprints. And inside the blueprints folder, this is where we're going to create another folder called characters. So in order to be able to create a character that you can use to explore the world, you need to create a character blueprint. That's why the characters folder is in the blueprints folder. it's not the actual character mesh, it's the character blueprint. Basically, it's like a script if you use Unity. So yeah, that's what a character blueprint is. It's the bunch of code that makes up your character's movement and behavior and stuff. So yeah, we're gonna like get more deep into it, but for now we're just gonna create a blueprint class. And over here you can see that you have several types of blueprint classes like actor, pawn, character, player controller, and all of that stuff. We're gonna start by creating a character blueprint, and we're gonna call it BP character. So this character blueprint is going to be, when you open it, it's just going to be a blank cylinder or capsule, and there's no mesh or anything inside of it. So that shouldn't be a problem. We're going to import a mesh from the marketplace. But before we do that, we should make this capsule thing playable so that you can actually control it, even if it's in first person. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a camera component over here in the components tab. So components are things that make up your character. For example, the mesh, the capsule component is the character's collision. It's basically the actual character. It's what you control. The mesh is just there to represent it. And yeah, that's what we have so far. There's also the character movement component, which is like the default forced component on all of the characters. Well, basically all of those are forced, but this one, like, it controls the character's walk speed and stuff like that, or if he can crouch, its jump velocity, all of that good stuff. We're gonna get into it later, but for now we are just gonna do a follow camera, or actually no, it's just called the camera. So search for camera in the add and hit the camera button and just place it as if it's the character's head. So first we are going to be creating first person character, and then we're going to like fix that. So now that we have that done, we do have this character, and you can even place it in the world, but you wouldn't be controlling it actually. Like, you can still fly and stuff. So what you're going to do to fix that is you're going to create a player controller so that it can actually possess this character and let you control it, because, you know, the character blueprint, it's not enough. You need the player controller in order to like be able to possess different characters. And the reason for that is, like, you might have the character, like the player controller, for example, possess different characters so that you can switch characters, or so that, like, when the character dies and you want to respawn on the same map without reloading the map, you can just spawn a new character and possess the player controller to it. It's mainly for like it exists, but most of the uses are like for multiplayer reasons, but it's forced, so you have to use it anyway. So we create a brand new folder under blueprints. We're going to call it controllers. And over here, you want to create a new blueprint class by right clicking and going to blueprint class. And there's player controller. You just hit it, type BP underscore player controller. And that's it. Actually, you don't need to do anything else, I think. Actually, we do need something. We do need to make an input mapping system, because right now, like, we created the character and the controller, but we don't have any inputs so that the controller can like know which buttons to press so that the character can move, for example. So it's going to be very basic. We're just going to go in the blueprints folder and create a brand new folder. We're going to call it inputs. And we're going to go inside it and right click, and there should be a category over here for inputs. So we're going to create two things. So the first thing we're going to create is input mapping context. Sorry, it's just an input action, I mean. So we're going to create an input action. We're going to call it IA, which is for input action. And we're going to call it move, for example. And we're going to duplicate it. And the second one, we're going to call it look. So move is for moving the character, look is for moving the camera. And I think we're good. So we're going to create two of those. And we're also going to right click, create a brand new input mapping context. So the input mapping context, let me just name it. So we're going to call it IMC underscore input. So this is going to be like our default input mapping context. And if you guys don't understand what an input mapping context is, we're going to explain it right now. So if you open it, you have mappings. So you want to create, like, add with the plus button. And then over here, you can just choose out of the ones that we made. So each input action has its own like thing where you can add it, and you can add the other one as well. And under that, if you go to this arrow and press it, there's the things that you can choose. So like you can choose the mappings that activates it. So for example, for movement, we can just hit this button, which will let you on your keyboard press something and it will choose the key for you. And then you can add with the plus button again another input that you can choose for your stuff. So like you can just hit it again, press S, and then another one. And of course, if you want to, like, you can just choose it from here, but I prefer just doing this, just hitting this and then hitting the key on my keyboard. So for now, this is what we're going to do for the movement. Now for the look, we are going to do one basic thing, which is go here, go to mouse, and we want to choose mouse XY 2D minus axis. So this will know what to open. But what we are going to do now is we're going to go to modifiers. We're going to hit the plus button and we're going to choose negate. So this will just make it work better. Also for these stuff, oh, we forgot the D button. So we just hit plus, press on this one, hit the D button. And also we want to apply modifiers to these as well, so that it knows for which one, which is which. So like which one goes forward, which one goes backwards. So we are gonna go to the first one, which is the W, hit the plus button on the modifiers and choose swizzle input access values. And we can open it as well. XYZ, we shouldn't change that. So for the S button, we are going to add two modifiers. The first one is going to be swizzle input access values. We're not going to touch what's inside it. And the other one is going to be negate, so that it's negative. And then we are going to also do the same thing on the A button, but we are going to only choose negate. And for the D, we are not going to do anything. Yeah, I think we should be good, but let's open the input actions just to check, because there is something that we might need to do. Yeah, we are going to have to go to access 2D, vector 2D, and choose that, because, you know, Boolean is basically better for buttons, but access 2D is for things that are multi-direction. So we should also go to the look input action, and we are gonna also choose the same thing. So just go here, select access 2D, and that should be fine. So now I'm gonna close both this and the input mapping context and even the other input action. And we need to go to the player controller. If you aren't here, you should go to the event graph, and we are gonna go to the begin play, which is where things start things happen as soon as you start the game. The begin play is gonna fire off. We are gonna write our first line of code together. You wanna right click and it should let you like search for nodes. We are gonna search for enhanced input local player subsystem. This one. Oh no. Yeah, okay. So over here it needs to have a player controller. Actually, is there another one? Get enhanced. Yeah, this is the one you want basically. There's multiple versions of this node, so you want to choose the one without the thing over here, just for simplicity's sake. And what we're gonna do is we are gonna check if it's valid. So you want to type is valid. And if it is valid, what we're gonna do is we are gonna add mapping Well, it should be gotten from here. So we just drag out of this connector, search for add mapping context, and connect it to the is valid thing. And the mapping context, you just want to like choose over here, select asset, and you're going to see the first one that we made. Honestly, like you can use multiple mapping context in the same project. Basically, if you have like a character that can walk on his feet, you use a context specifically for that. And if you also have like vehicle controls and you want the player to be able to change them independently, you can just switch between mapping contexts. I don't think like I would do it in a smaller project, but if it's like a AAA game or something, that would also like be nice, I guess, to have it like much cleaner. So this should work, but even if it does add the input mapping context, the player character itself, it has no input actions. So we are going to go to the event graph and we are going to search for IA look. So this is for moving the camera. This is the one that we just made over here. So you have access to both of those inside the blueprints or any input actions that you create, but it won't work unless the player controller has the mapping context or the player character, which we might have to move this to the player character, but I do prefer having it on the player controller. We shall see if it's going to work. So other than that, we are going to search for IA move. So first thing, we want to create the look. So you just on triggered add controller yaw input. The value is going to be this action value. We just want to right click on it, split struct bin, and the action value X is going to be the yaw input. And after that, we're going to add controller pitch input, which is going to be the action value Y. And in order to keep things cleaner, you can just hit anywhere on this line, double click, and just like have it be straight lines. That's like much better to have it like this, because you know when you zoom out it's going to look cleaner. So theoretically it should work. Let's go ahead and test it. Now if you hit play, it's not going to work, and that is because we still don't, like, we didn't tell it which character to play as. So the way to do that is to just go to window and then world settings, and it should open a brand new tab here. So go to game mode override, and you can just choose anyone, I guess. No, actually you can't. Yeah, we're gonna have to create our own game mode as well. So we'll go back to blueprints, right click, new folder. We're gonna call it game modes, and a game mode is basically like for single player games and games that are like regular third-person games, I guess. You can just use one game mode, but if it was a multiplayer game, you could just make like one game mode for deathmatch, one mode for search and destroy and stuff like that. But since we're creating an RPG, we should just create a regular game mode. So I forgot to tell you, just right click, hit blueprint class, go to game mode base. We're gonna write BP RPG game mode. And that should be it. We don't even need to open it. So you just go back here to the world settings menu, and over here just choose BP RPG game mode, which we just created. Now you can open the game mode itself, and over here you can just choose several things. So you want to go to player controller class and choose BP player controller. And also default bound class, we're going to add the character that we just made, which is the BP character. So this by default, as soon as you select the game mode, it will set those to be the player controller and the default pawn or default character that you want to control. So you can see over here it's been set like that. So now if we hit play, it does let us move the camera of the player character around, but it's not perfect because like we can't move it up and down, and also we can't even walk. We didn't set up walking though. So first thing we want to do is we want to fix the camera thing, or actually no, let's not fix it. As soon as we know it's working, we can just hit the C button. Like you can just select them, hit the C button, it will let you leave a comment, and we're going to call it look, or even better, let's call it move camera. So this will like leave a note for you so that you can go back and check it out. We're going to ignore this for a little bit. It's not perfect, but we're going to ignore it. And we're going to set up the movement thing over here. So it's going to be also very simple. It's actually simpler than setting up the camera. So actually, no, it's not simpler. That was a lie. So as soon as it's triggered, you want to drag out of here, add movement input. And we're actually going to copy this and paste it by using Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V and connect it like this. So this will add movement input, and you can choose the direction over here and the scale of the movement. Yeah, let's just ignore that for now. So the direction, you want to get the control rotation. So whatever direction the controller is rotated to. So basically, yeah, I don't even need to explain that. Like, it's simple. Like, it just gets wherever you are looking and it will walk in that direction. And we're gonna get right vector. Oh, we don't, yeah, we just get it without dragging out. So get right vector. And we're gonna right click, split stroke bin. By the way, I forgot to tell you, like, if this looks like this, you just right click, split stroke bin, and you just connect these like this. And this is for the side movement. So the right vector is the character's side. So you either go right or left, and that will be determined by the scale value. So you wanna, over here in action value, you want to right click this, split stroke bin. It will make it just like this, X and Y. So X is the side movement, which is A and D. So you're either walking left or right. So if it's left, it will be -1. If it's right, it will be 1. So like the scale value over here, it's not going to be either 1 or 0. Now we're going to do the same thing for the add movement input of the forward. So we can copy the get control rotation. But instead of get right vector, we're going to get forward vector, which is going to get the characters forward. And just connect it like this. And connect it to the world direction. There we go. And the scale is going to be the Y value. So you just connect it like that. And do it like this so that it's cleaner. And this should actually work. So we should test it to see how that looks. So we can move the camera. Of course, it's inverted and it's terrible. So we're going to fix that later. And you can move around in all directions, which is perfect. Like, you can now move around. It's a first-person game with like terrible camera controls. So we should fix that right now. Now, since this is going to be a third-person game, I'm not going to fix it the way it is right now as a first-person game. What we're going to do is we're going to add something called a camera boom, which is basically a spring arm, just a line that the camera stands at the end of so that it can rotate around the character and even collide with some stuff. It's not really like that easy to explain it. It's you can even like use it to make camera delays. Like when the character moves very fast, it will do its slight delay. Yeah, it's a really cool component. So you just over here hit add, go down a little bit, and it should be spring arm. I'm just gonna call it camera boom. And you can see this is the line that it is. I'm gonna move it up a little bit, and I'm gonna hold the camera component and drag it onto the camera boom, and it should automatically place it at the end. So now, since we are playing first person, I'm just gonna make this camera boom's target arm length to be something like 10, for example. It should keep it within the character just for now. And we're gonna hit the button which says use pawn control rotation. And over here, actually, yeah, we're good. So let's test it and see how that is. If it's not that good, we can also do some changes. So you can see it's fine, but yeah, it works. We're now playing a first-person game, but the problem is my camera is inverted, so I need to see what's wrong with it. So we should go back to our input mapping context, and you can see over here negate on the input action look. We want to disable X and Z and just keep it on the Y, and let's see how that looks. Yeah, it's fixed now, so it's not inverted anymore, and I can just play it like it's a first-person game. Now you might notice that you can't actually jump with this setup, so we might just set up a basic jump before we end the video. It's really simple. You just go back to the inputs folder, right click, go to the input thing, go to input action. We're gonna call it IA jump, and inside of here, yeah, this should be fine. So there's also the triggers thing. We're gonna hit the plus button, and you have several types to choose from. Down though, it does it as long as you're holding the button. So we're gonna try this. I'm not sure if it's the best way to do jump, but we're gonna go with it. We're gonna go back to the input mapping context, hit the plus button, choose the jump over here, and choose the space bar, and go back to the player character. Oh, by the way, we forgot to comment on this, so we're just gonna select it, hit the comment, and hit the C button, and then type move character, and then we're gonna do another one. So we're gonna search for IA jump. Here's our input action. So it should be the one with this logo, not this one. So we just choose that. And when it's triggered, you can just type jump, and let's give it a try and see how that looks. So when you hit the jump button, it jumps. So that's it. That should be fine. Yeah, now we have a fully playable first-person character with jumping controls and letting you like move the camera, move the character, and yeah, that's it. So in the next video, we are going to be setting up how to add the character and its animations, so that we have a fully custom character with animations that are unique and not really the default Unreal Engine mannequin animations. And we're going to be doing that using the animation blueprint. So if you guys are looking forward to the next video, please hit the like button and subscribe if you are new to the channel, because we need more subscribers. Of course we do. And don't forget to check out my Discord channel if you need any help with this series or any other series that I do. Basically, we have a community there, and the other members also help. Like, you can ask a question and they will help you find the answer for it. So yeah, please check out my Discord. The link should be in the description. And thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Take care, have a great day, and bye.